So I'm looking at this season, and obviously Deebo Samuel right now, he's 21 yards shy of 1,000 yards. The 49ers, the 49ers haven't had 1,000 yard receiver since Anquan Boldin, right? So we're talking about what 2004, 2014. All right, Anquan Boldin, 2014. Uh, Before him, they had Crabtree, and obviously Bolden was two times 1,000 yard receiver. But I've seen a lot of people kind of talking about Deebo Samuel, and it's like, oh well, 49ers gonna have to pay Deebo Samuel, and maybe looking for different ways to move off of him. Get that out your head right now. They are not moving off of Deebo Samuel at all. There is no way, shape, form, nothing. You're not moving off of him. We have not had the success at receiver like that. We haven't had that production at receiver like that. There is no way, no scenario where you let Deebo walk or you look to trade him or anything like that. Maybe if the 49ers were a team like Pittsburgh that has done a good job of just consistently getting production out of receivers, okay, maybe. But even then, right now, Deebo Samuel is on pace for 1,740 yards. 1,700 yards he's on pace for right now. And that's just receiving. He has some rushing yards in there too. As we just saw, he had like 30 some rushing yards and a touchdown the Monday night. So Deebo Samuel, a payday is coming. A payday is coming, and it's gonna be a big payday. All right. Now I did see the question right here, Croc. Now are you willing to say Deebo is top five at his position? No, I'm not willing to say that because I feel like to be top five, you have to kind of do it consistently. Like even Justin Jefferson, he had 1,400 yards last year, and I'm not gonna say, well, Justin Jefferson, he's a top five receiver in this league. Like I got to see you string together years because most of the guys are our top five. Like they've been doing it for some years now, right? You know, when you look at Julio Jones, you know, DeAndre Hopkins, you know, even Mike Evans, I throw him in the mix. You know, Mike Evans, he's been 1,000 yard receiver every year of his career. You know what I'm saying? So, like, to me, yes, Deebo is having an extraordinary year, a historically great season. But to be top five, to even be top 10, you got to do it for an extended period of time for me. All right, that's just my opinion. And sometimes my standards are a little high. I got somebody that was in my comments the other day. I don't even know dude's name, but he's like this analytical kind of nerd dude or whatever, Vang Vu, whatever his name is. But you know, he was like, yeah, this guy said Jamar Chase isn't a generational prospect. But yeah, Jamar Chase is not a generational prospect to me. But what are your standards as a generational prospect? To me, a generational prospect is somebody that comes around every generation. Like not every draft there's a generational guy. Like every generation, and when I say generation, I mean like from my age to my son's age. And right now, the only guy that's that for me is Calvin Johnson at receiver. So if you ain't Calvin Johnson and that freakish and that like that, then to me it's gonna be hard for me to say that it's a generational prospect. All right, but anyways, my standards sometimes are a little higher, right? In the sense of that, I'm good with understanding who people are, right? Like some people's standards for Josh Norman might be higher than me, and I'm just like, it's Josh Norman. Of course, he's gonna mess up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's Josh Norman. Like my standards for him as a starting cornerback are corner aren't high. But when it comes to the receiver position and saying that Deebo is a top five receiver, I'm not there yet. Top 10, I'm not there yet. But obviously, if he continues to ball throughout this season and he can start hot next year, then we'll start to have those conversations, those debates. But as far as paying Deebo Samuel, what will he get? And I started to look at some of the guys that are paid at the receiver position. DeAndre Hopkins. And I don't know how this is possible. I didn't look at the years or anything like that, but Hopkins is his average salary a year is $27 million. So I don't know how that's possible. That's a lot of money for a receiver. All right, so you got Hopkins at 27. Deebo not getting that. But one thing about the receiver position, you can't lowball it. Like the market is what the market is. Just kind of like quarterbacks, just how the 49ers had to pay Jimmy Garoppolo. They had to make him the highest paid quarterback in the league. A lot of people are like, how you make him the highest paid quarterback in the league? He started 7 games in his career, is what the market is. If you let him walk, what are teams going to be willing to pay him? And they were going to make him the highest paid quarterback in the league as well. All right. So Hopkins, $27 million. That's different. I don't even know why it's so much. All right. But you look at the next 4 guys: Julio Jones, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, and Mike Thomas. All right, you got $22 million for Julio a year, Keenan Allen at 20, Cooper at 20, and Mike Thomas at 19. Deebo is going to fall in that range. All right. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I saw people trying to lowball like George Kittle, right? Like, oh, George Kittle, you can't pay him this, that. He shouldn't be paid this. And okay, tight ends, their market, whatever it is, cool. Deebo, he's getting 20 mil. Deebo is getting $20 million. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Deebo gets 21, 22. Wouldn't be surprised. Now, I have heard people say that what he's doing is because he's in a contract year. Deebo is not in a contract year. Deebo Samuel is in the third year of his contract. He has a 4-year contract. He has no fifth year option. He wasn't a first round pick. All right, so he wasn't a first round pick. Can't get the fifth year option. But Deebo, they're gonna have to pay him. Now, when do you pay him? Do you want to wait until you see him do this again? Because if you do that, the number might go even up higher, right? If Deebo comes back and he has another season like what he's doing right now, where he's on pace, say he has 1,700 this year, 1,500 next year, that he's gonna 100% be the highest paid receiver in the league. So you can't risk that. You got to pay him now. Obviously, you would like to see him, string together these type of seasons, string together healthy seasons, and do what he's doing. He's such a big pivotal part of the 49ers offense, but you might not have that luxury. If I'm them, I try to see what I could pay him this offseason. Now, this offseason, he would be heading into his contract year. And so you don't 100% have to pay him. I think people think that. You don't have to. But do you want Deebo to play on a contract, on basically a year contract? And then if you don't pay him, then you start to get into do we franchise him and all this, that, and the other. So it starts to get a little sticky. We'll see how they handle it. But right now, he's definitely due for a big payday. Morning, Croc. Good morning. Is it me or the players ball out just before payday and slow down a little after getting their money? Honest question. Good question, Eddie. I would say Deebo's situation might be a little different because Deebo is not in his contract year, right? So I know you said just before the payday, but he, they don't have to give him a contract this offseason. They can wait it out. Now again, the thing is, if you wait it out, you start to get into this struggle of, utilizing uh your your franchise tag, and you risk him just balling out again, then the number's gonna go up. Look at what the Dallas Cowboys got into with Dak Prescott. If the Cowboys, they were on the fence with Dak Prescott, they could have just paid him right then and there. If the Cowboys would have just paid Dak right then and there, he would have been way cheaper. They waited out, they franchised him, they did this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, they had to pay him north of $40 million when they probably could have got him at 33 if they wouldn't have waited. So it's a dangerous game. And the one thing that's interesting about Deebo Samuel, let me make sure I get this right. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. There is something very interesting about Deebo Samuel. He is, all right. Debo's old. He came into the league at like 24 years old. So Deebo Samuel turns 26 in January. So he's not one of these young springy guys that came in at the age of 21 years old. Came in at 24. He's about to be 26 before this season is over. Well, as long as before not make the playoffs, and they're gonna make it. All right. Before this season's over, Deebo, he'll be 26 years old. So that's another thing that you have to keep in it. Like, he's not even out of his first contract. By the time his first 4 years are done, he'll be 27. You know what I'm saying? So he is a little bit older. That's something that you have to keep in account. Matter of fact, he might be, and this is going to sound crazy. Hold on, let me look into it real quick. Hold on. A player that has, watch this. Let me see if I'm right. Let's see. Okay, nah, he's not. He's not. I thought maybe he was older than Amari Cooper, because Amari Cooper, he feels like he's been in the league for a hell long. Played hell of years with the Raiders. He played a bunch of years for the Cowboys, and he's 27. All right, so he's about a year and a half older than Deebo. So yeah, Deebo, Did you just say the Niners are making the playoffs? Fuck out of here. I hear you. I hear you. All right, but Deebo Samuel, he's a little bit older, so you got to take that into account too. This might be his only opportunity for a big payday. So he ain't settling for less. All right. By the end of his first contract, he'll be 27 years old. 27. So he'll have his 4 years to really cash in and get his 100+ million. And that might be it for Deebo as far as like just the big payday, the big contract. All right. I think they extended him during the offseason. Lots of money coming off the books when they move on from Jimmy. Yep, that definitely can help. And there should be an explosion in the salary cap. I think that's what a lot of people are waiting on, right? The salary cap at some point is about to go up. When? We don't know, but getting guys locked in right now, you know, that'd be big. That'd be big for him. Get it right now. And then the salary cap should continue to go up. Croc, you tripping? He ain't old. No, Deebo is not old, right? He's going on 26 years old. Deebo is old for somebody who is still in his first contract and basically has a year and a half left, right? So the fact that he's about to be 26 and he'll be 27 at the end of that's old for a first contract. And when you're looking at like having to pay him again, because most dudes who are balling the way he is, their first contract is ending at around the age of 24 years old. Guys that are like, if you take Justin Jefferson, right? You look at Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson will be, when it's time for him to recoup, he'll be like 23, 24 years old. I think Juju Smith was like 23 when he was getting paid. So Deebo is going to be 27 at the end of his, like, that's older for the end of your first contract. So that's what I mean. Like, not necessarily like he's not old. He's still good, but his payday. George Kittle, I think, was similar. Got another contribution here. What's good, Coach? Extending Deebo in the upcoming offseason would be ideal, especially with Jimmy coming off the books or taking a pay cut. Also, exactly. And we just kind of touched on that as well, right? Like salary cap going up, get some money back from Jimmy Garoppolo coming off the books. And obviously the 49ers have done a really good job of kind of maneuvering contracts, and not just the 49ers, the NFL in general. Heading into last offseason, it looked like the 49ers had like, I don't know, $5 million. Next thing you know, they had 20-something million dollars, and they brought back a bunch of guys. So uh, definitely a lot of different ways to kind of rework the salary cap and all that good stuff. 49ers have done well with it. I see some people are like, Parag Marate, he's supposed to be this genius, but look at his Jimmy Garoppolo contract. He's getting paid $27 million. The genius part of Parag's contract negotiating with Jimmy Garoppolo is that at any point the 49ers couldn't got out of it, right? That's the genius part. Like if Jimmy Garoppolo was just bad, he could have been gone after 2 years. And it's hard to have that type of language in a lot of contracts. Here we go. Here we go. But only 30 guys under contract next season. I wouldn't worry so much about that, K Dot. Uh, most of the time, there's just a huge there's a lot of guys that aren't under contract. Most of the roster is filled out by guys on 1-2 year contracts. So I wouldn't worry too much about only 30 guys under contract. Like that's gonna be, it's similar every year. You kind of go through that every year. Now, ideally, you want everybody to come back, but really, you just need your core group to come back, right? Like your core guys. So, yeah, wouldn't really worry about that. Breaking news, and it's surprised that Jets planning to start Flacco. Wow. Joe Flacco is starting on Sunday. That's interesting. All right, but yeah, Deebo Samuel definitely want to come in here and talk about that. What do y'all think, is going to be his, big payout, man? I'm thinking Deebo, if they extend him this offseason, he continues on this, if Deebo continues on this pace that he's on, which is a historically great season for the 49ers, only player that will, if he continues this pace, will be more productive than this is Jerry Rice. All right, talking about over 1,700 yards. All right, and he's very well in reach. I think he's going to fall in between 1,500 to 1,700. Great season. The money that he's going to demand, if they extend him this offseason, I'm thinking he gets about 21 million a year. Which Deebo, I do I follow Deebo? I think I follow him on Instagram. I don't follow too many athletes on anything, but I like Deebo. He's one of my favorite players. Crazy, my brother, Deebo is one of my brother's favorite players in the league. My brother's a Cowboy fan, but he loves Deebo Samuel. I don't know why. He usually hates on every 49er guy. Any 49er players, my brother, he's always hating on them, but he loves Deebo Samuel for whatever reason. But Deebo's going to get about 21 million, and that's a lot of Deebo and Kendrick Bourne. They're kind of similar. They like the, you know what I'm saying, the Gucci, the Louis Vuitton, and all that type of stuff. So he's going to be able to buy a whole lot of that. 17 million a year, 40 million guaranteed. 17 million a year for who? Deebo? Shit. Listen, and I'll repeat again because Jeep, you might have just gotten in here. DeAndre Hopkins, he's at 27 million. Deebo not getting that. But you got Julio at 22, Keenan Allen at 20, Amari Cooper at 20, Mike Thomas at 19. And at the end of the day with receivers, it's about the where the market is at that time. So he ain't taking no 17. You know why he's not taking 17? Because if you had to franchise tag him, these are 5 guys, 20. The way the franchise tag goes is they average it out by the top 5 guys at a position. So the franchise tag number is probably like $21 million. So he's not going less than 21 million. The franchise tag, if he's like, bro, I'm not signing that, and they're like, all right, well, we're gonna franchise tag you, it'll be 21 million. So he ain't taking 17 million a year. He ain't taking 17. I see the comments in here. 21 at least. 17. Yeah, he ain't taking. Deebo is not taking. And again, I was thinking he's gonna get at least 20 million minimum. But now that I think about it, and when you average out the franchise tag, which will be about 21 million, and that's even, I don't know who else is coming up, right? That can inflate that, right? Because AJ Brown's gonna be coming up, DK Metcalf's gonna be coming up, Terry McLaurin. Those guys can get north of 21 million. So that can bump that franchise tag up even more. So yeah, 20 million. That's even that's gonna be Deebo's gonna be like 20 million. Huh. Go up. Go up. All right. I will do the deal today. 17 million for a top wide receiver. You can't do it today, Eddie. The reason why you can't do it today is because he's not taking 17 million. If Deebo Samuel took $17 million, I would assume that his agent, the 49ers staff, the 49ers front office, Parag Marate, they got something on Deebo's agent. Like he's a murderer or something. And they're like, listen, if you don't let us sign Deebo for 17 million a year, then we're gonna tell that you murdered this person. That's the only way Deebo takes 17 million. Because anything less than that, like, no. I need my chips with dip. 21 million. That's the floor. That's the floor.